Hey, this is Jen. I've got another movement of the day post for you. Today is number 58, and this week's mod is a very simple, very quick. It is for everyone. It is called the Seated Figure 4 Stretch. One of the reasons I like it is because the name makes perfect sense. But the other reason is that whenever you need to take a little bit of a shift in your seated posture, but you know that you're not actually going to be getting up to take a longer break, even though, obviously if possible, you need to schedule in those breaks where you actually get up and move around, get your water, whatnot. But in those instances where you're, say, working at your desk and you know you're going to stay seated, but you want to still have a little bit of a shift or be able to throw in something that's good for you, this is when you would remember to do this. And you don't need anything because you'll already be using sitting right in the equipment. So I have a chair. So the seated 4 stretch is where we're going to take one leg at a time and work on our hip flexibility, glute flexibility, and hip mobility. So you would take one leg at a time, cross the ankle over the top of the thigh. You could assist yourself doing so, and position yourself to where it's pretty comfortable as far as how far your feet are over. So you want basically the top side of your feet, including a part of your ankle, to be rested right here. So you've locked in into this passive stretch position. For some of you, this is going to be, I feel it right here. Without doing anything further, you'll feel a stretch. Now, if you can go ahead and take it further, the first thing is to straighten up your posture as much as possible. And then from here, we could work on 2 different ways of working that hip flexibility and mobility. The first is internal rotation of the hips. We're going to take our hands, interlace it underneath that knee, and what you want is to use the strength of your arms to bring the knees up. So your knees, or your figure 4 leg, is as passive as possible, okay? So you don't want to feel yourself fighting against each other, right? You want to just let the figure 4 leg relax as much as possible. Let the arms do the work to bring it up. Again, remember to stay upright. Now from here, you can shift and move around and find different angles as you sort of rotate here and there. Try a little hip hinge forward and find any particular spot that feels like a good hurt, right? And hold it there for about 30 seconds. Now, in general, none of the movements that you do in exercise or stretch should hurt. So we have to learn the difference between what is tight and okay, what is a short range of motion and okay, that's what you're working through, versus actual pain due to some sort of anatomical restriction you have, or if you have a bone-on-bone situation or some injury that needs to be worked around. There's always going to be different exercises that you can do to work around those situations. All right, so it should be tight is okay. Feeling yourself fight is something that you're going to work through, but you're just going to try to figure out, what is a good position for you to hold for about 30 seconds at a time. So that's internal rotation. Now, the external rotation is where we're going the opposite way, and we're going to press the pressure downward on that knee, or you could use one hand, hang on to your ankle. Now again, the first part is to remain straight up, okay? And if you're fighting yourself, if you feel that you're fighting yourself, remember to breathe, okay? So the first thing that you'll notice if you're fighting is that you stop breathing. Remember to breathe normally and just stay within the range where you could breathe normally, if not better, to go deeply with the breathing, but at least normally, because as soon as your breathing gets restricted, you've kind of taken your body a little bit too far. So From here, you could take that further by actually using your forearm and elbow weight to kind of rest onto here. Again, you're not rounding forward, okay? You're then going to hip hinge. That would be the next level to take that stretch deeper. By hip hinge, I mean to try to focus on closing the gap between your lower belly and the top of your thigh in this hinge crease area, okay? And a tiny movement here can make a huge difference, all right? So just don't be rounding forward. Now, always remember to do the other side. Perfectly normal to have a difference on the two sides. So if it's less mobile or less flexible on one side versus the other, just spend extra time on your lesser side. All right, so this is it. You know, you don't need any equipment. Just remember to try to throw it in whenever you remember to do so. As long as you're staying seated, you should at least get some benefits. All right, this is Chung signing off, reminding you, start where you are, do what you can, use what you have, and move something.